I took his picture the week before. This curious figure, rather tiny, tangled with a fate much bigger with a monstrous Goliath-looking tank. His posture so unafraid, so perfect.
What you've captured there in that picture for me is immortal. I think it's a portal to the peak of courage.
But a few days later he struck in the neck. I guess he had a reckless streak.
Faris Odeh had been a month shy of 15 when he was stolen by a bullet that tore into a family's soul, left it gasping and asking why.
We were a platoon of boys, and Faris was always in the Vanguard. Oh, he was hard at it when the Intifada happened, first in Jerusalem, where it sprang. Eventually it picked up in the Gaza Strip.
All this daredevilry, was it just an after-school game for you? Or did you take it seriously?
Oh, definitely. If we could aim the stone to rebound against the armor, it gave this peculiar metallic sound. The tank wouldn't retreat, but if we could deafen the town of it without rebellion, well, we thought that's as good as giving them defeat. And sometimes they'd rout us with live bullets or blanks. Here's a trace of an old gash after one particularly nasty rout.
All this? For what? What could you have possibly hoped to have come of it?
In facing the tanks, we had to defy them. What would you do? Fold and submit? We had to try to push them out.
I remember in the afternoons how he would trick the teacher, or skip school altogether, to go and confront the Israeli army. His stunts made him notorious in the class, his father furious. He laid down rules for him which the boy breached often, as you can imagine. Oh, he had mettle, that boy. So unafraid, refusing to be tamed. Incurable courage, I called it. He reached up to the meaning of his name.
Faris? Who is Faris? The boy whose name means night. Faris Odeh. And what do you know what Odeh means? It means return, to go back. It is in the name, you see, it is in the blood. A birthright, blazoned in the memory of a people. Can it be erased? No. Oh, of course it can't.
You were his friend, and you were there with him, watching him till the end. Can you tell me how he died?
I heard the bullet, ran for cover. In a sideway glance, I saw the body sag, saw the blood spray wet and thick. We couldn't fetch him. He was so close to the tank. We reckoned if we tried to get near to him, if we tried to drag him back, we'd be toast within seconds. So we bled profusely while we had to wait for an ambulance, and obviously it was too late. He was announced dead.
Do you ever think, why did he have to die?
Why does anybody have to die around here? It's a repetitive tale. A week before, his cousin, 17, only 3 years between them, was killed by Israel.
Why?
He was a policeman who I suspect the occupier had come to expect him to police his own people. Instead, he went feral. He turned his gun on the occupier, flung his own life into the crossfire.
And Faris must have had a cruel impact on him, fueled his anger.
It wrecked him, actually. On his funeral, Faris put a photo of himself as a symbol in the wreath, and made a vow to go seek revenge of Shadi's death, his cousin. By the end of the week, his last breath taken, he was under the ground, 5 feet deep.
If I can rewind to the time he was still alive, a few days before these events unfurled, a picture of him had made news headlines all around the world, and, well, now that he's dead, he's quite famous.
Yes, but Faris fled the limelight and the cameras because he feared his picture might appear on primetime television, and his father might get wind of where he's been, what he's done, and punish him.
I wanted my son to be alive, so I appeared the more violent. I feared for him. What you've heard of the enemy's archive of cold-blooded murder, I've seen, and I've learnt the virtue of being silent.
But Faris is a knight, you know. He craves a lance. His father, who named him, made him relish a fight. His dearest wish was the chance to throw something which in the middle of despair could ignite a torch for future boys to follow, to be a hero for a crowd. What other boy doesn't wish that? You tell me.
Of course, he's a martyr, and of course I'm proud of him. He's in a better place, which we all envy. But if I punished him, you think I should feel remorse. But why? Look, I'm his dad. I didn't wish for anything bad to happen to my son. I feared for him.
Were you physical at any time? I was speaking to his mother, your wife, and heard how you tied him up and hurled him on the roof until your wife took pity and sneaked up to rescue him.
Look, for his sake, true, whatever, even the roof, I wanted him to have life, to make it in this world, not to see an Israeli soldier kill my son. I thought a bruise might save him from a bullet.
I understand. If he were alive, do you think he would accuse you of breaking his will to resist?
For God's sake, he's my son. I wanted him to exist, to be with me still.
The media in the West, the Washington Post, for example, suggest his martyrdom was driven by what we can call an excess of taking risks. Do you think they're right?
When have they ever been right? Faris was a Palestinian, and like all of us, he shared the Palestinian plight. But unlike a lot of us, he dared to face brute force with force, even with a pebble.
Do you think he'd regret if he knew the force he opposed is now more rough than ever?
Do you know what the root cause of our suffering is?
You'd claim it's the occupation of Palestine, I suppose.
No, rather it's the subjugation of the mind. Our minds, your minds, they want to make us fear, to make fools of men who resist. But when this atmosphere of humiliation, a mere schoolboy trounces with a flick of his wrist, it is the break of the spell. He announces with one stone's throw that an army is coming that refuses to pale. A new generation is at his heel, free from the sickness of previous betrayal, fearless and ready for the cost of honor, hoping to join the dears they've lost. A father, an uncle, a cousin or a brother, and following Faris, they will rebel. The young groups he inspired to face troops of tanks will grow in their ranks, will swell and give hell to the invaders' flanks. And when that transpires, we will throng to his grave, and with tongues of praise give thanks.